Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. As you can see today, we are going to take another attempt to fix this. And can't say I'm looking forward to it, but I need the distraction. It's been a long, rough month or so. And it's not getting any easier as we get closer to my birthday, which is in 1 week from now. I'm shooting this on the 21st, so... yeah, my birthday's coming up, and things have not been going well, and I need a distraction, so we're going to try and work on this. And how we're going to do that is I got a new motor for it. Actually, I got two more motors for it, or two new motors for it, I should say. These should be directly compatible. The sticker seems to have fallen off this one, but I matched the part numbers. They're just about identical. Specifications are identical, so this should work. And I'm convinced that this whole mechanism in here is just jammed right up, so we're going to have to get in there and more thoroughly disassemble it this time, I guess. Now before I get started, why has this month been so hard? Well, towards the end of October I bought a vehicle. It's the most expensive vehicle I have ever purchased in my life. It cost something like 10 times more than what the Pacifica did. And it's not here. That's what's been driving me crazy over the last month. You guys know I have an anxiety disorder, right? Well, it's been going nuclear in the past month because that car's not here. And why isn't it here? Well, it's in Vancouver. I don't know if you guys have seen the news lately, but Mother Nature decided to throw a hissy fit and drown Vancouver. Well, not Vancouver so much as the surrounding area, but yeah. Now, what's the deal with that? Well, I initially did try to go get it. I found the vehicle I wanted. I made the deal. I got in the Pacifica to go out there and trade the Pacifica for it, and I made it as far as Creston in BC. And I made it no further. Why? Because Mother Nature. Mother Nature decided to throw a big winter storm party to the west of me when I got to Creston, so I couldn't get all the way to Vancouver. So I talked it over with the sales lady, and the sales lady said, no problem, we can have it shipped to you. It's probably going to be about as much as it costs to drive out and get it. So I said, okay, let's do that then. So we did that. We set up the shipping. It was supposed to get on the truck last Tuesday. But Sunday evening, Monday morning, buckets and buckets and buckets and buckets and buckets of rain washed out every single road to Vancouver. So I couldn't get there, the shippers couldn't get there, nobody could get there. Unless you wanted to go through the United States, but at the time we still had that ridiculous 72-hour PCR test for the COVID stuff going. Yeah, you can be double vaccinated all you want, but you still got to take testing when you come back into Canada. So that was out. And it's going to still be out until the end of this month when they finally relax those rules. But yeah, I might still have to go out and get that car. I might end up putting it on the channel now just because of how much of a fight it's been just to get it into my hands, but we'll just see what happens. I'm committed to keeping the shipping arrangement, so I'm hoping it finally gets on the truck this week sometime. Fortunately, BC got some of their roads cleared up, and unfortunately there was loss of life, which is very sad to hear, but yeah, they're finally getting shipping trucks moving again, so I'm committed to keeping the arrangement because I do not want to be on the roads myself cluttering up their roads for my personal vehicle, when they can just as easily ship it and a bunch of other vehicles this way, and I'm not burning precious gas in Vancouver. And yeah. So anyway, the vehicle's on the way. Maybe. Maybe not. We'll see. At this point in time, I won't tell you exactly what I bought, but I will give you a hint. And here's that hint. Yeah, somebody went out and bought himself a set of triple squares. Now, what do you figure could use these weird looking sockets? I'll let you guys guess. Until I'm ready to actually show it on the channel, I won't name it for now, because knowing my luck, if I name it, I'll never get it. So let's get into this thing, and maybe we'll see if we can fix it this time. Now, I won't show you the extended sequence of getting this apart so you can actually work on it. I'm just going to get it to that point myself, and then I'll see you back here in a moment. Okay, we are back, and we are getting ready to replace our possibly dead and possibly not motor with a dead spot in it. But I thought before we actually go ahead and do that, let's see if it actually works. So I've got this power supply here. It's an old Johnny Guru review sample. I've got it hooked up to the motor, and we're just going to see real quick what this does. Ready? Ready. And nothing. It's not even trying. Don't think I have the polarity backwards. And I think the power supply is working, but let's just give it a quick test. Oh yeah. Power supply is working. So, that motor is definitely fried. But then we kind of expected as much. What I want to do is I want to test the new motor before it goes in. I had to buy this from Bulgaria, believe it or not. At least I think that's where it's from. Could be wrong. Could be right. Who knows? So, how am I going to do this? Same way. Now I do have a second one of these, just in case something doesn't work right with this. Oh, this motor works. This motor works just fine. So let's get this out of the way here. And let's turn our attention to the mechanism. Believe it or not, I already found the problem with it. And I'm going to try and show you real quick here. Now, let me zoom you in here, just so you can get a real good look. Okay, see this big black gear here? This is the mode gear. This is what spins around. It gets driven directly off our motor here via the flywheel and the main drive belt. And this is what's responsible for selecting the different modes. Well, this was jammed right up about in this position here. So no modes were engaging. What happens is, when you press these buttons down here to engage the different modes, it pops this little gear loose. And this means that the flywheel, the little gear on the flywheel, I'll show it to you here. That's it there. This can now spin that gear. And that's what engages the mechanism. like so. Now, because this was all out of position, it obviously jammed up the buttons, so the buttons didn't work anymore. But they're going fine now. Every mode position is being selected now. So this should be fully working now, without any need to go any further into this, which is good because this is really complicated down in here. You've got this little selector assembly down here, and you've got who knows how many parts in there, and it's just a nightmare. So I am glad to not go any further into this than I already have. So I'm going to put our new motor in. I'm going to put these new belts back in we saw from last time. Maybe do a little bit of light lubrication work, because there are some spots in here that could really use more lube, but I would really rather not go fully in depth with this because I don't have the service manual. I couldn't put this back together if I took it apart fully, I don't think. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to service this as best I can from this position, and then hopefully we'll have a working tape deck by the time this is over. Obviously we wouldn't have had a working tape deck before because, sorry about that, because this motor is shot, and I mean dead. So we should get her back up in order now. So why don't I get this motor swapped out, and we'll throw her back together, and then we'll see if anything works now. Back with you in a while, because it's going to take a while. Okay folks, just wanted to do a quick little memo to you just before I complete the reassembly of this unit. I just wanted to show you exactly how this record switch mechanism goes. This is basically how it goes. It's supposed to mount like this to this screw, and you've got this spring here coming over to this piece, and what you want is for the other end of this piece, there's a little paddle. I don't know if you can see it very well. It's moving back and forth there. It has to go above the little metal piece that's in there. That's basically how that goes. And you want to make sure that's absolutely correct. Otherwise, problems. Oh, also, watch out for these old connectors. This one actually broke while I was taking it out this time. So what I had to do was a little bit of plastic soldering to hold it together. I'm not sure if that'll hold. I might have to get in there with epoxy yet, but I think it should be okay. Now, let me try and finish putting this nightmare back together. Well, folks, the moment of truth is here. Either she's back together and working, or she's back together and dead. I ran into further trouble with that broken connector. I tried to put it back on, it broke again. I tried to plastic weld it again, and it broke again after that, so it's completely useless now. So what I had to end up doing is going wire by wire into that connector, and I think it's holding. So right now I've got batteries in her, and we're just going to see what happens. I've got the cassette door off, as you can see, because if I need to get back in there, I need that door off. So cross your fingers. Let's power on. Ooh, I heard a motor. I heard a motor work. Dare we try a cassette? Yes, I think we dare. Will she play? Yes, she will. Look at that. completely working. And we've even got our meter working. Indicators working for play. A little bit of weirdness. Now, I gotta tell you one thing right now. I got the pulsar apart again, just to compare, and this is not the same mechanism as the pulsar. It's just not. Not at all. As you could hear from the way it cycles the mechanism, you can just sort of hear that, that big mode gear turning in the back, kind of. And it doesn't respond right away when you hit stop. In fact, you can hear the motor run when I hit stop. So yeah, not at all the same mechanism. So if you're looking for tips on how to repair the mechanism that's in the CC4000, I guess we'll have to make that a separate video. Which I might as well do because it needs belts anyway, just like this one did. But for now, I'm happy. We have one fully working, I think, well, mostly working, Silver SR5000. I am pleased. I didn't think I was going to be able to get this working for a while there, but yeah, she's working fine. Well, mostly fine. I think it's supposed to auto stop when it hits the end of the tape and rewind and fast forward, but obviously that's not working. That's probably a lubrication issue, but honestly at this point I don't care. It just fought me so hard getting to this point that I'm happy. Power off. I will see you in the next video.